The Last of Us is down to its final two episodes. The eighth episode, the penultimate episode of season one, aired tonight on HBO, and it was a hell of a good episode, I gotta say. After, I think, a really strong start to the season, first three episodes were really good. Then we had a few episodes that kind of missed the mark for me. Not just last week's DLC Left Behind episode that kind of threw the whole momentum off with this flashback. It was an overly long flashback that took up the whole episode, killed the momentum of everything going on with Joel and Ellie. But really, even like the Kansas City stuff with Kathleen, while there's been some good stuff in there, I feel like this show has kind of lost its sense of fear and its sense of tension and just that sort of oppressiveness that the game really did well, and it also feels a little rushed. So I've talked about all of this in my last couple videos, but tonight's episode really course corrected for me. We have Ellie trying to figure out how to take care of Joel. She goes hunting with the rifle and shoots a deer, and this deer is then discovered by two men from a nearby settlement, David and James. Very biblical names. David is a preacher, the leader of this group that we don't really know that much about. It sort of seems very much like a religious zealot. James is one of his lackeys and also played by Troy Baker, who plays Joel in the video games. So Troy Baker is a phenomenal voice actor. He does, the voice acting and the motion capture for Joel in both the first and second Last of Us, alongside Ashley Johnson, who plays Ellie. So this is his cameo role in the show. Not much to say about James. He's very much just a lackey. So he's, I guess, the right-hand man of David, but a pretty small part overall. Baker does a fine job, but there's not much to say. It is Scott Shepherd, I believe, is the name of... Yeah, Scott Shepherd, which is an ironic name for this particular character, who describes himself as a shepherd. I just rewatched El Camino, and he's one of the fake cops in that fake arrests Jesse. He plays David, this leader, kind of cult leader, and he does a great job. He comes across as kind of a nice guy at first. When Ellie gets them at gunpoint, when they find her deer, he says, well, let's work out a deal. Like, what do you need? We can trade. You can't carry this whole deer by yourself anyways. She wants medicine, and he puts two and two together because it turns out that these guys that they ran into 2 episodes ago, the one that stabbed Joel that he killed, that's their people, and they want revenge. So he tells James to go get the medicine and lets her go ahead and take it. They take the deer. She goes back and gives penicillin to Joel. And then David sends a tracking party out to find her and Joel the next day. We learn also that David is not such a nice guy. For one thing, he slaps this girl, the daughter of the man who died, when she tells him that they need to kill them. He is clearly ruling with an iron fist, and people are afraid of him. You can tell. They are also serving up some very mysterious meat. And when I was watching this, I admit that I had just rewatched the first episode of Kingdom on Netflix, which is a Korean historical sort of epic zombie show and has some cannibalism in the first episode. And so I was pretty ready for this to obviously be human meat, but we learn more about that as the episode unfolds. So they go out to find Joel and Ellie the next day. Ellie spots them before they get there. She gives Joel a knife. She's already given him a couple doses of penicillin, and he's kind of starting to wake up. She conceals his hiding place, goes out on the horse, and distracts them. They shoot the horse, they capture her, and David carries her back to their settlement. A couple other people drag the horse back for meat. 3 guys go out to find Joel, but at this point, Ellie's woken him up, and he's prepared. And here we get, Joel acting the part of the badass that a lot of gamers, fans of the game, have complained that he is not tough enough, not violent enough. And I actually agree that they could have made him a little harder in the earlier parts of the show. I think it would have made his vulnerable moments with Tommy and whatnot more impactful. But regardless, he takes down all three of these guys one by one, captures two of them, and then tortures them into telling them where Ellie's been taken, and then kills them both. It's a callback to the earlier scene in the show where he was with the old elderly Native American couple and sort of threatens them when he's showing them the map. Well, he does the same thing with these guys, but he kills them. And it's pretty violent, gruesome stuff, but he clearly is in no mood for talking it out. And honestly, it's good to see this side of Joel, even if it's better late than never, because you get a good sense that he is willing to do whatever it takes at this point to protect Ellie. He hurries off to find her. She has been taken captive, and this guy, David, basically entreats her. He's trying to get her to join him. He says he sees himself in her. He thinks they could rule together. It all seems a little odd that he would be telling her all these things, and it's pretty clear by the end that what he really wants is he wants her. He's a creepy, dude who wants to have sex with a 14-year-old. When she pretends like she's interested, she ends up breaking his finger, and he gets really pissed off, and he and James are going to put her on the butcher table to cut her up into pieces, I guess. Although maybe do other things with her first. But she grabs the cleaver and kills James with it and runs away. And there's a big chase scene with her and David. And she lights one of the buildings on fire, and he stalks her through the dining hall, and eventually she stabs him, but he gets her on the ground, and he's going to rape her. It's very disturbing stuff. But she manages just to once again grab the cleaver and fight him off and hack him into little pieces, quite viciously. It's a very intense scene. Kind of hard to watch, but ultimately she escapes. She runs outside covered in blood, freaking out. Joel has made it to this town at this point, has seen where they keep the bodies, where they've been desanguinating the bodies of humans to eat. We learned that this is actually not just like a one-time deal. These people are cannibals. They're eating people. Little termitey, like Walking Dead, the termites. But he runs up and grabs Ellie. She freaks out. She thinks she's being attacked again, but he, grabs her and holds her and says, "I got you, baby girl." And you really see now that he is her father at this point. She is his daughter. They have become that to each other. Surrogate father, surrogate daughter, whatever. He is there to protect her against anything and everything. And obviously she can protect herself pretty well too. But that was freaky, really freaky moment for the show. Things don't go down exactly the same in the game, but similar enough that this really captures that feel of dread and danger. And I think that what this episode does so well that maybe not all of this show has done so well is capture that sense of bad stuff is going to happen. And that should make you feel nervous and afraid. And this episode really does that well. It's the most intense episode of the season so far. It makes me also think that really they should not have wasted time on Kathleen and that whole group. They didn't need to establish another talking villain, I guess, if you want, for lack of a better phrase. David was a good villain to show up at the second to last episode. Before this, they had Fedra. You could have just had some nameless thugs that were pursuing them with Sam and Henry. Kathleen is just such a less interesting, less fearsome, less terrifying bad guy than David, and you kind of just feel like they just wasted time on that. And this gets back to my whole critique of the show right now, which is that they've spent too much time in flashback land. They've spent too little time with the cordyceps infected zombie type creatures. We needed more of that tension and that fear and the horror and the action. And really, this could have been extended out into a longer season, potentially even 2 seasons. And now we're at the very, very final episode next week, and I feel like we just shouldn't be there quite yet. Especially with how good this episode is. I really, really enjoyed this episode. So let me know what you thought down in the comments. Like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. It's super easy. Just click subscribe, boom, and then basically you are in a very, very elite group of YouTube subscribers. There's not that many that subscribe to this channel, but you're here in the the ground floor days. So, when this channel has 1 million subscribers, you can say I was there before there were even 15,000. So, anyways, yeah. Thanks for watching. Peace.